Good afternoon, good evening, good night. Welcome to a new episode, episode 11 of No One Can Agree. I'm the moderator, Joe Love. I have a panel here with me. I have Judge, I have Alan, and I have Devin. We may have some other guests drop by during the show. Uh, Welcome. What's going on, gentlemen? How are you?
Doing well.
It's all good, bro.
Good,
What's
good,
going
good.
on,
Nice to
man?
hear. Nice to hear. So, we got a few topics to discuss today. I'll give you guys the rundown. Today we're going to be talking about a Powerball, the lottery winner, $759 million. There was one winner. Uh, Also, on the set of Deadpool 2, stunt woman. She's an African American lady, a black lady that she passed doing a stunt on the movie set. We're also going to be talking about some NBA news as Kyrie Irving gets traded to Boston. We're also going to talk about Blacks for Trump, Paula White's prayers for Trump, and possible genocide maybe in the works here in Central Africa. With that being said, gentlemen, let's get started. Our first topic today, the lotto winner. In Massachusetts, a lady by
My
the
wife.
name of Mavis Wansick won
Damn.
$759 million. Gentlemen, I don't know if you
That's
guys
right.
played. I know a
We
lot of
won
people.
759.
No, I think Mavis Winsick's grandchildren won $700 million. Mavis ain't gonna spend none of that bread.
Now Mavis gonna donate half of it to the church.
And
Me,
her
no
cat, the
Mavis
other half
ain't.
going to her
No
pet.
Mavis ain't. Me and Mavis going on vacation.
Come on,
So what
man.
do you do? What do you do with that type of money? If you guys hypothetically were to play the lotto and win that much money, what would you guys do? What would be the first thing you guys do? What would you do throughout the rest of your life if you came into that amount of money at one time?
Man, it'd be Black Wall Street Part 2 up in here, man. I'll be trying to get with anybody I can to get our people together. But I mean, that's a great idea, but I ain't gonna lie. My initial thing, man, I'll travel the world.
That's
I'd take
much
about a
better.
year off
Keep
and just
talking
go
about it.
all around the world. You know what I'm saying? Do whatever, man. Hire me a financial advisor or something before I go acting crazy. I'm really not a big spender anyway, man, but I think I want to travel the world first and foremost. And the big dream idea would
Right.
be to establish that commerce or help build some type of community with black business or something. But other than that, man, I just want to travel, man. I want to see different cultures, see different people, see the world, and learn, man. That's the best education is travel, man.
Right.
You have plenty of money to do that.
Oh yeah. I
What?
I say
Fucking.
some of the similar things. Devin said definitely traveling the world. I like to travel. One of my goals before I leave this place is to visit every part of the world that has pyramids, um, because that's my interest. I also
It's not
want
hard.
to set up some generational wealth, for my family, man. Um, you know, Find a way to where no matter who comes in existence down my bloodline, they have something. And I definitely want to gain some type of resource so I can control some type of revenue in our community too. You know, Whether it's oil or something, you know, I would like to be in some type of resource to help out my community.
Okay, Judge, what you got? What you
Not,
doing with that money?
not doing none of that. That's for sure. So, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll probably buy. I will buy some land. That is what I would do.
Mhm.
Um, most in several different parts of the world is what I would do. That I could buy. Um, that would allow you to buy shit because it ain't most places in the world ain't no land for sale like that.
No.
Um, So I would do that, and that'll be my revenue for the children, other than maybe some gold bars and some resources of that nature. When you're talking about like gold bars, I know what you're talking about. Things like that can never lose value.
Yeah.
Then, well, the first thing I'm gonna do is cut off all my cell phones, cut off all my TVs, close my doors, lock my windows, and me and the family got to sit down because I got to explain to my wife we just won $750-something million and hope she don't die if I ain't already died. Then I got to figure out how to fly in all of my parents, all of her parents, and our siblings, and some of our best friends who don't say F one piece, and get them all and say, hey, this is what happened. So everybody who I'm close to know exactly what I'm dealing with and what they going to be dealing with. Then I'll go and do all the buying of the land. Personally, people get financial advisors. I don't, they get financial advisors so that they can get this kind of money. So I got this money. So if I'm going to get somebody that's going to financially advise me, they better be able to handle $500 million and above. Otherwise, I can't talk to you. I'm just being honest. Oh, that's a lot of money. You ain't somebody looking at the paper like, ooh, I do regular people's money. I don't do 500 million money. So you got to find somebody to do that kind of money.
Yeah, I think you get calls from all your old college and high school flings.
I majored in accounting. No, not you.
You'll get people from work talking about they always had a crush on you and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, man.
I think people come out the woodworks, man.
Maybe like 4 baby mamas swear I got their baby back in 98, 99.
So nobody, I'm surprised nobody said they quit their job. Nobody said that.
Well, we don't have to say that. What's understood don't have to be said.
That's given, man. That's given, man.
You already know. We ain't even going to quit our job. We just not going to show up.
Yeah, I call in Rich. I'll be like, hey, man, I'm rich this morning, boss. I ain't going to make it.
I ain't going to even show up.
Yeah. Funny.
What you going to do, too?
Let's move on. Congratulations to Mavis.
My Mavis.
She's lucky. She's lucky. I know her phone's blowing up right now.
I just want her to know I always liked her.
Yeah.
Her stringing down, her pretty dresses, all that. I liked her ever since she came to work.
Man, come on, man.
Her brown teeth.
Yeah.
Her perfume.
Mavis and she was the only person that got it. So she's the sole winner.
She deserved it because she's so sweet.
Boy, Mavis sound like she make a mean cup of coffee at the Waffle House, boy. Mavis sound like she like a manager at the Waffle House or something, man. I don't know, man.
Look like she was the Waffle House laid it on it. Mm-hmm. Hash browns. Hey, man, let me stop, man. Y'all messing up my meal ticket.
All right, so let's move along from Mavis. Congratulations to Mavis. NBA news. Kyrie Irving got traded to Boston. Everybody knew it was coming, that he was going to get traded, but nobody knew where he was going. The deal was to the Boston Celtics for Isaiah Thomas, Crowder, and Zizic, who I'm not familiar with at all, and a first-round draft pick in a 2018 draft. How do you feel about this move? Does it help the Cavs? Does it help Boston? And how do you see that change the landscape of the Eastern Conference?
So I'm trying to get clear exactly who get the first round. So Boston get the first round, and
no, Cleveland gets the first round. Yeah,
Cleveland gets the first round.
Yep.
That's actually a good deal for Cleveland, man. So Isaiah going to Cleveland and they get a first round.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit, Kyrie can kick rocks for that, man. That's a lick. It would sound like Cleveland came up.
Yeah,
I mean, shit. Yeah, that's pretty much no brainer, man. I mean, I don't know much about basketball with the trade, but just hearing that, knowing them two players and what happened, man, it sounded like Boston made uh, Cleveland got a pretty good deal there
Yeah, I think
for
so.
Kyrie.
I think so. They
You still
also
got the
are.
other pieces.
Didn't Cleveland get that pick from New Jersey?
Yeah, they got New Jersey's
Mhm.
pick. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Cleveland already picked up Derrick Rose in the offseason. I don't know if many people were aware of that. So Derrick Rose is on
Yeah.
the Cavaliers now as well.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
Is it a rumor that D Wade going to the Cavaliers?
That is a rumor. I don't know how true that will be, but there's a
Yeah.
rumor that Chicago's going to buy out D Wade's contract, and the story is that he may be going to Cleveland.
So they trying to put a power team together. They trying to
Yeah.
compete with Golden State.
Yes.
So basically, the NBA is
Yes.
just gonna be Cleveland versus Golden State. Is all the NBA gonna be
Yes. Pretty much.
for the next 3-4 years if that squad happens.
Yeah.
Unless the Lakers
Damn
do something,
shame.
you know what I'm saying?
Boy, we wish, don't we?
That takes away from competition.
Hey, but I'm happy for my Sacramento Kings, man. We got the person that we want. So we're gonna put some work on the floor, man. This year.
And whatever.
Oh yeah. And we got Debo giving us 15 points, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, it's gonna be the Warriors and whatchamacallit.
I don't know how I feel about that, man. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about that about the integrity or the competition of the league. When you have one powerhouse team, it's bad enough because you already know who's going to win in that conference. But when you have a powerhouse team in each conference, I mean, that's all you playing for. Basically, you just going through the motions until May or June until postseason.
Right.
So I mean,
But we all
what's
know
the
who
point?
started this now. We all know who started this.
Yeah, we know who started it.
Right.
So-called King James. I'm taking my
Yeah.
talent to South Beach or whatever. Because some
Yeah.
people want to argue that Cleveland did. I mean, not Cleveland. Celtics did it first when they brought, but they was all old heads. You got Ray Allen. You got
Right.
all of them. They was all kind of they had one last hoorah, one last run to try to make that happen. But when he went down there to Miami, that was starting a fresh new team. So he started something. And now Golden State's doing it, and they ran off with it. And Golden State gonna be the lick for the next 2-3 years until, unless this come to pass. If D Wade come, they got Derrick Rose, Isaiah Thomas play like he needs to play, and LeBron do. Then you got two equally yoked power teams in the East and in the West, and basically all the other teams are totally irrelevant.
Right.
It's
They
been
just
that way.
collecting paychecks. That's it.
Yep.
That's been the case.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so crazy that LeBron will probably have a decade of finals appearances.
He already got 7 in a row.
That's what
All
I'm
he needs
saying.
3 more.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy. You in the
And
finals,
even if D Wade don't come to Cleveland
right?
with the elements in place now, he's already looking probable to be in another 3 finals.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, fellas. Sorry about that. Lost connection there. I'm not sure what happened. Where we leave off? What was the last thing y'all heard me say?
Oh, we had a whole conversation about the trades, man.
Yeah, we're good. You good?
We move on to the next topic, man.
Yeah, 'cause I don't care.
Topic. Let's move on. The next topic is Deadpool 2 shooting in Vancouver, Canada. Currently, they had an unfortunate, starring Ryan Reynolds, by the way. They had an unfortunate accident. A stunt woman died on set. Her name was Joy Harris. She hit a curb and flew through a plate glass window.
Yes.
How do you feel about this? I know there's some other reports that came out about this incident. And
Well,
go ahead and expound upon it, Judge.
Yeah. So apparently the stunt coordinators and the trainers and the rest of the stunt people that were there, all were kind of worried that she wasn't ready to do the stunts that they needed her to do on those bikes. And so they voiced their opinions to the producers and everybody not to let her do it letting her know that, hey, any minute she can have an accident and this whole thing could go bad. But apparently their thoughts were that they wanted to keep him, and these are all allegedly, that they wanted to keep her on simply because she was an African-American woman and it looked good for the show, and she kind of looked like the woman that she was kind of portraying from the movie. And so they wanted to keep her on and kind of just let it go as is, and they kind of neglected the fact that the woman wasn't, that the professionals said that she really wasn't ready to do those stunts. So they weren't surprised that she crashed and perished.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, like Judge just said, he gave the whole gist of the whole story. Now, my feelings on it is, I mean, I wish she could have spoke. I mean, she knows if she's ready or if she's not. I mean, those professional stunt coordinators and whatnot knew that she wasn't ready. I mean, she was a street racer. She's never done any stunt work before. This is going to be her first stunt job and her first movie. This is almost like Conor McGregor stepping in the ring with Mayweather. I hate to use that as a metaphor or analogy, but that's literally the case. This woman had no experience. She was not qualified whatsoever to do this based on the experts that were talking about this. So it's a tragic situation. It is what it is. Hopefully they learn from that in Hollywood. I mean, but like Judge said, you know, they wanted this African American woman. Well, I don't like using that term. They want this black woman to look like the star of the movie, and they wanted it so bad that they put this woman's life in jeopardy. And apparently, she wanted whatever she was looking to benefit from taking this role so bad that she knew she wasn't ready for this. They said that every time she got on that bike, they cringed. Mm-hmm. And they basically cringed knowing that this woman was not ready for this. And on top of that, she didn't even have a helmet. I understand it's a stunt. They said at the time of the accident, she wasn't even wearing a helmet. Yeah. So I'm assuming that was part of the scene. That was part of the movie that she was supposed to be like that.
Right.
But, I mean, if you 40 years old, they say this woman was 40 years old. If you 40 years old and you riding sport bikes like that, I've been riding since I was 8. I got almost 30 years riding experience right now. I've been riding bikes since I was 8 years old. And I ain't finna do no type of moves like that on a motorcycle if I know damn well I can't handle it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. It's one thing to be a street rider and a rider, and it's another to be a damn stunt driver. Yeah. That shit ain't the same.
That's it. That's the point. That's the point right there. So to me, in my opinion, my fault, Joe.
No, go ahead.
To me, in my opinion, it looks like the movie was worth more than that person. You know, it was, and that's pretty much the bottom line. You know, she's not a professional stunt, woman. She's just a street rider, like everyone has said. Those are two different things, two different trainings. You know, two different skill sets. You know what I'm saying? So I just hate that it happened, man.
So in this incident, guys, who do you think? Because it doesn't look like the blame has been taken for anybody yet, and I don't think the studios said anything. Who takes onus for this happening?
Well, I don't think anybody's really going to step up, because if they would, they would already said something.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, I mean, there's blame all across the board. I think that the stunt coordinators themselves did what they could from their position. But, you know, unfortunately, in this country, in this world, we have orders that we have to follow from certain bosses. So if they went towards, the producer and said, hey, man, this woman ain't ready, and they said, hey, F it, you know what I'm saying? We got a multi-million-dollar production, and we need to make this happen. You need to get her ready. You know what I'm saying? Then basically they back against the wall. So I wouldn't put the stunt coordinators at blame. You could blame the producers or whoever made the call to say, hey, she still needs to make this role. And you can blame her, herself being personal. Hell, I can't handle this. I know I'm not qualified. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm not qualified to do this, but you can't go to her posthumously and blame her for something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the fact of the matter is, you're 40 years old. You probably been riding damn near your whole damn life, and you know what you can and what you can't do on a two-wheel motorcycle. I race motocross, and I rode on the street. I'm not finna go out there and do no stunt racing or race on the actual real track. You know what I'm saying? I'll ride in and out of traffic on a cruiser. I'll get on a track, on a dirt track, on a dirt bike, and I'll jump on them jumps. I'll do all that stuff because that's what I'm trained to do. That's what I've been doing since I was 8 years old. But I'm not finna go out there and ride wheelies and sit on handlebars and do all kind of crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't what I'm trained to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Not without a
Same.
green screen. Shit.
Yeah.
Same here.
Right.
But yeah, that's unfortunate. Reggie, welcome. We're just discussing the Deadpool 2 set death. I don't know if you had anything to add to that.
Nope.
All right, and
Yeah.
so I just want to ask you guys, when we bring it up, it is fight week. Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. I just want to throw this out here. The fight is this weekend. It should be one of the biggest fights of all time, as far as box office and attendance. Competition-wise, what do you guys think? Who you guys taking?
Mayweather.
I'm taking the Mac because it's gonna beat him up. The ropes won.
Shit. Man, you crazy.
The ropes gonna beat up McGregor.
Man, y'all ain't gonna want to hear my prediction, man, because I'm finna basically start some shit with my prediction.
No, go ahead. Go right ahead. We like. Hey, this show is called No One Can Agree.
Hey, that's why Reggie giggling. He already know where I'm going. We don't discuss this at work. My conspiracy theory pick is Conor's gonna win this fight based on Floyd's gonna throw it to make $1 billion in 36 minutes.
Damn.
If you look at it, man, Floyd is 40 years old.
Yeah.
He retired 2 years ago. He's never gonna fight another competitive fight in his life. Okay? Never. This ain't even a competitive real boxing match that we're about to see on Saturday. So when you look at it, he stands to make $300 million in person pay-per-view. Conor stands to make almost $100 million in person pay-per-view. If Floyd were to take just 75 to 100 million of his own cash and covertly bet that on Conor, way when the odds first came out, when this fight was announced, and somehow make this happen to where he loses the fight, this man don't care about no damn 49-1. He don't care about no 50-0. Every time you look at Floyd, Floyd's always talking about money. He's an avid gambler. Everybody knows he's a big gambler.
Hey, Floyd,
and
fight, man.
this dude always talks about, only thing he ever talks about is boxing is all about making as much money as you can and get out without getting hurt.
Well, he gonna die if he bet on himself and he can't die.
No,
You know that,
that's
right?
a good. That's a
Now
good.
I heard that about Vegas.
I think that's a good conspiracy.
He gonna die.
If it was,
That is
if it was legal to bet on yourself.
If it was, he
But
gonna
that's
die.
but see, this is my next point. Because see, Reggie said the same thing. You can covertly do stuff when you have that much money and that much resources, and you have that many contacts with Vegas and the bettors. Who says that the people that might have to pay out this big old loss aren't in on it too, where they can personally stand to make gains? You know what I'm saying?
Ain't no way.
I'm deep on this, man.
You ain't gonna have $1 billion and ain't nobody gonna know about it, man.
Right.
That ain't gonna.
But he already got hundreds of millions. If you already got hundreds of millions, who's the decipher between hundreds of millions, 400, 500 million,
It's
and
called a
1.2
computer.
billion?
It's called a
Cayman
computer.
Islands. It's called Cayman Islands, Swiss bank account. It's called all kind of.
No,
Well,
it's
see,
called
let
a
me say this.
computer.
Let me say this. Hold on. Let me say what I was saying to him when we had this discussion. So my argument was I can understand where he was going with it,
Yeah.
but where it would fall apart is, in my opinion, is Vegas knows exactly what they're doing. So any chances of this possibly happening, Vegas has already thought that out. They're in the business of gambling. So they know that people will think of the same thing that Devin just thought of. Like, hey man, let me just throw this. I'm gonna give, like Devin mentioned in our conversation, let me give 20 of my homeboys this amount of money,
$5 million apiece.
$5 million apiece. Y'all place this bet on your own. This ain't got nothing to do with me, or it ain't got nothing to do with Floyd Mayweather. I'm gonna take this money, I'm gonna give you a cut of it, and we're gonna go here and there. But as I was mentioning to Devin, I don't see how there's no way that Vegas doesn't know the ties there, first of all. When it comes to placing odds, Vegas, when you look at like sports, I mentioned this, when you look at sports, for instance, Vegas will place some odds on a football game, like a college football game or something, before anybody else knows that the starting quarterback is injured. Vegas already know. Automatic, you see those odds just randomly change to something totally different. So that's why I don't think that this would has any legs, because Vegas is a whole lot smarter than just some dummy sitting around taking bets, hoping that people decide to bet it all on one way.
Yeah.
Man, I just go back to the movie Harlem Nights. I go back to the movie Harlem Nights.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hey man, hey, y'all seen Harlem Nights, man? I'm feeling it.
That's exactly
I know Floyd don't seen it too.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
But then I also mentioned I also mentioned the legacy part of it as well. So one thing about guys, but hold on a second. One thing about athletes, any athlete, the one thing that really matters to them and that they always talk about is legacy. Like, what is it gonna do to my legacy? Like, yeah, money matter. Money do matter. They definitely talking about the money. But it always boil back around to what type of legacy, especially the greats. Now we talking greats. We ain't talking just some average Joe player. We talking about greats. When it comes to greats, legacy is all they got. So Floyd, his main thing has been pound for pound being the greatest boxer to ever fight. Pound for pound. If he blow that, what incentive does he have other than the money to blow that? You talking about throwing away? You talking about throwing away his? Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me finish. You talk about blowing his legacy of being pound for pound the greatest boxer ever lived. You talk about blowing, having the best record when it comes to boxers at 50-0. I mean, the guy would be blowing. He would be basically giving everything away without anybody having the knowledge of knowing that he got $1 billion from it. He can't even flaunt it. Because if you flaunt it, then people know that he cheated.
I'm gonna answer that. Answer that for you. I'm gonna answer that for you. First off, legacy for Floyd Mayweather, in his mind, and basically in the box, and basically the general public's mind, is really not as sustainable as a Muhammad Ali or even Mike Tyson, who went to prison. Mayweather went to prison too. But the thing is, with Mayweather, he was pound for pound his first 41 fights. His last 7 or 8 fights, he's been handpicked. He ain't fought. He ducked Pacquiao for 6-7 years and waited until he was no longer in his prime in a blown out shoulder to fight him. So I'm saying that he has a lot of asterisks on his last 2 fights. That Berto fight was an asterisk. Pacquiao was an asterisk.
You go back to the room when he was a little smarter.
Oh man!
So now listen to me. Those last few fights that Mayweather fought were not really real fights with real competitors.
Okay.
Pacquiao was the only real main name, but Pacquiao wasn't Pacquiao. The only real fighter he fought in his last 6 fights was Canelo Alvarez.
That's not true.
That's it.
But go ahead.
Go ahead, Adam.
His last 6 fights. Name somebody a real fight he had in his last 6 fights.
Everybody Floyd Mayweather has fought in the last 10 years has been champion.
No, his last 6 fights. Besides Canelo Alvarez and his last 6 fights with that Showtime package.
Yeah, but I think kind of on Devin's side here. I think what he's saying is they may have been champions in the past.
You can't get to champion.
Hold on a second. But hold on. But nobody can debate. It's almost like saying I beat Tim Duncan on his last year playing in the league. I mean, it ain't the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, you bragging about something that ain't the same.
It's the same. Because Tim Duncan's last year, them niggas didn't lose about 12 games.
Yeah, but his last year wasn't like when they was going on a run winning championships. I mean, you bragging about something that ain't quite the same.
Man, they won one the year before. Before that, something.
Yeah,
but I'm saying is, man, I'm just going for the
nobody agrees. Listen, nobody agrees on this.
I'll tell you this too. Let me say this because I'm a huge boxing fan, by the way. FYI. The legacy of a boxer does not come into fruition immediately. Muhammad Ali was hated during his boxing career.
What I tell you, Reggie?
Yeah, we said that.
It don't just come right then. We still talking about Black Jack Johnson and all those boxers way back when boxing wasn't even televised. You ain't even got no film on these guys. People still talking
But
about these people.
Joe, let me tell you what I told Reggie, because he brought that same point up. He said exactly what you just said. Now the difference between Ali and Mayweather is Ali was hated when Ali was the shit. He was hated by America because of what he stood for in the 1960s during the height of the Civil War. The Civil Rights Movement. Now, post Civil Rights Movement, after his career, people look back in retrospect and realize that he was right the whole time and that he was actually a good dude. And then his whole legacy made a whole 180-degree turn. It went from being the most hated man in America to most beloved. And you saw what happened last year when he passed and the reception that he got from everybody. Now, Mayweather on the other side, he's never done anything to stand for shit except for talking shit and making money.
I agree.
He's actually.
I agree to
He's hated on a different level. He's hated because he's an asshole.
No, but I will say this.
Mayweather's hated because he's an asshole.
Mayweather brought money to boxing. Way more money to boxing than anybody else. You can't take that away from him.
Right.
Regardless
that's
of if
boxing.
you like him,
what does that have to do with his legacy?
Yeah, but regardless of what you think about his attitude or the way he carries himself, because I don't like everything Mayweather does.
No, but he has changed boxing.
His craftsmanship for his discipline, you can't dispute it. You can't.
Well, see, and my argument is that I can't see Floyd taking his 49-0 or whatever it is record.
He won't.
Crumbling it up and throwing it in the trash.
Yeah,
just for some more money when he already going to make $300 million. I just don't see it.
Look, he don't want to lose to him. You don't want to go away and say I lost to an MMA fighter.
All right,
it's too easy, guys.
Right
now, Devin, I will say this. I think them guys are friends. I don't think they hate each other. I think them boys are friends.
They don't. They in together. They both gonna make some money. But going back to what you said about him and his legacy or whatnot, I use this in an argument with Reggie. Take Terrell Owens, okay? Terrell Owens, by any means, I don't care who you are, who your favorite football team is, nobody can dispute that's a true football fan that Terrell Owens does not belong in the Hall of Fame. The reason he's not in the Hall of Fame is because of nobody likes him. Exactly. He never got in trouble in the locker room.
True.
Man never went to prison. He never got in trouble off the field. Mayweather's been to prison for whooping women. Mayweather isn't liked because he's an asshole. Allegedly. But people don't like Terrell Owens just because Terrell Owens say, get your popcorn ready.
Well,
do that.
I'll tell you this.
That's what he gets out of Hall of Fame for that.
The difference between that is who votes NFL Hall of Famers in?
Players and coaches.
And the media. The media.
Hall of Famers. It's the Hall of Famers that do.
Yeah, no, but the media has votes. They have votes.
Yeah, the media has votes.
And the media did not like Terrell Owens. He rubbed a lot of those guys, and those are the same guys that was there coming up when he was playing.
That's right. They was playing.
Yeah.
And so he is suffering unjustly, I might ask, because he is a first ballot Hall of Famer to me. I don't care what you say.
Uh-huh.
I
don't think anybody on this panel would disagree with that.
Yeah, I think that's how it happened with Terrell. It's unfortunate with his career how that ended up, especially towards the end of his career. But Mayweather has a luxury that Terrell doesn't. Mayweather runs shit in boxing. He is the money mover in boxing, whether he's fighting or not. He hadn't been fighting in 2 years. He's been promoting.
Him and De La Hoya.
He been promoting.
I tell you what. I told Devin this. If Floyd hit that mat, he gonna be the first one I text and say, "You damn sure was right." Because there ain't no way Floyd losing this fight unless it's some kind of conspiracy.
Exactly. There's no way Floyd is losing this fight on a legitimate boxing match. I don't see.
If Floyd throws it, he gonna die. Okay.
Yeah.
If it's any inclination that he did, he gonna die.
Right. Right.
Like I told Reggie, I said, yeah, if
We
that's
know
the case
this.
and they find out that
He
them
gonna
brakes gonna go
die.
bad on that Bugatti, something gonna happen.
Oh, he
Yeah,
gonna die.
something gonna happen.
That's
There's gonna be a
guaranteed.
gas leak in the mansion, something gonna happen.
No, somebody gonna kill him real bad.
You know, the only other way I see that happening is if after the fight they find out Conor McGregor is on some kind of steroid or something, and it just DQs him, and then he'll get his money and he'll get his name back.
All right.
That'd be the only way I see that happen.
And I also couldn't see somebody putting, and Vegas, Vegas is smart.
Yeah,
I couldn't see nobody putting $5+ million on Conor McGregor winning this fight.
yeah.
What about this? Okay, what about this? Let me back
Conor
up my
McGregor.
statement. I'm still gonna keep it in the same neighborhood. Let me back it up a little bit. Say Floyd doesn't put money on Conor against him, but he does intentionally throw the fight. If he intentionally throws the fight and loses it, that automatically sets up a rematch, which is going to make more money. So that basically sets the avenue for more cash. If
He gonna be
Floyd loses the
dead.
fight,
You're not listening. He gonna be dead.
no, if there ain't no money involved, there ain't no money. You know how much you can act and get knocked out by no knockout artists? They've already laid they've already laid the narrative, they've already laid the propaganda for it. They've already said that Conor is a UFC knockout artist and that he can unorthodoxly catch Floyd and something he ain't looking for because he's not a boxer. If you play into that method, 2-3 rounds down through, in the corner doing all this and here and moving and stuff, doing the shoulder roll, and get caught by left and go down to the ground and set up second fight, that's another 300 million.
So let me ask you this.
I'm not saying he can't get hit and fall. I ain't gonna say that.
And
But if it appears that he threw the fight, there won't be a rematch. He gonna die.
Yeah, it can't appear that way. I agree. It cannot appear. It cannot appear.
You know
that
how
way.
much Vegas got to pay out if Floyd lose?
Yeah,
Right.
like,
Man,
yeah,
that's a
that's what I
grip.
was about to say. I was about to say that, Judge. You just took the point out of my mouth.
80%
Vegas
of
would
all
lose so much money if Floyd lost. It would shake the whole economy of that city.
Yes.
It would.
Because the line, what was the
They
line?
said 80% of the bets have gone.
500.
It's crazy. It's crazy. It started off 1,600. It was plus 1,600 when it first opened up. The thing is, they say like almost 80% of the bets are all going for Conor right now. So if Conor wins this fight, Vegas is gonna have to pay out a shitload of money.
But see, I can see 80% of the bets going to Conor if you just got $100 to blow.
Yeah.
That's where the money is.
What
You got $100 to blow.
If you put
What you gotta lose?
if you put $25 down and you got a chance to win 13,000, I'm gonna put $25 down to do that too. You ain't got nothing to lose.
Exactly.
Right.
It's a lottery ticket.
And nothing to lose.
I think you got to factor in that embarrassment too, man. Like, I mean, as a guy that is what is Floyd record? 48-0, 49-0, 49-0, man. And you get stepped in the ring and lose to a dude that just started boxing 6 months ago. Come on, bro.
Man, that's like the New England Patriots playing the Trinity High School in Euless, man. Come on, dog.
Man, it ain't even
Trinity. This dude don't even have an amateur.
You giving Conor too much credit. It ain't even Trinity. Trinity good in high school. It's like, man, it's like some bum ass team.
All right, fellas, let's switch. I think we could talk about this all night.
Yeah.
So let's switch gears a little bit. The other day, Trump had a rally, and there was a gentleman behind him with a sign that was very noticeable that said "Blacks for Trump."
Blacks for Trump. Yes.
The gentleman's name is Michael Simonet. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Whatever.
Doing a little research on the guy. He's been in a bunch of groups, extremist groups, and he is got some very radical ideas about different topics, from Obama to the Clintons to Democrats to all different ideas.
Cherokee Indians.
Yeah, Cherokee Indians. Thank you. What do you think? Is this a paid actor?
Yes.
What do you think his motivation is to be there for Trump? And this wasn't the first rally he's been to. He's been to a bunch of the Republican conventions. He's been seen with Santorum and all the other guys for the Republican Party very famous Republican representatives. What do you think about this movement and his Blacks for Trump? And he's getting some followers. I mean, he's got some people. I don't know if they're paid or not. What do you think of all the hubbub was about
George
this?
Jones had Jim Jones had followers. Shit don't
Yeah.
Let's see what happened
So-
today.
He ain't the only one.
I can start, Joe.
Go ahead.
This presidential race has brought out so many people out the woodworks that we've never seen before. Like, have we ever seen anything like this in any other presidential race since we've been alive? Like,
Mhm.
like to that magnitude.
Like Joe the plumber, who wasn't really a plumber. Yeah.
Right. And then like every time they show this guy, you know, which I think he goes by Michael the Black Man now. Like he always broadcasting his website. Now I haven't went to it yet, but I think it's gods2.com or something like that.
Yeah, it's gods2.com.
Yeah, but every time you see him, he's broadcasting his website.
Yeah,
So
I wish
he
we
may
would have said
have.
that because we just promoted it.
Dang. But I think he'll pay after, man. Like, come on, man. Really?
Question is by who then?
Hey, somebody throwing them checks out there.
I don't want to call him a paid actor. It seems that way, but he's definitely been placed where he can be seen.
Yes.
That's
Exactly.
for sure.
Because how you get that close, though?
Exactly. How you get behind the president in every shot? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Well, let me say this as the kind of point that I would go with. This was kind of swept under the rug during the campaign, but during the campaign, there was actually some individuals who got caught up with the DNC, representatives who work with the DNC. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but it was recorded. The guy was recorded stating that individuals who have close ties with the DNC were actually paying individuals with mental issues to go to the Trump rallies and cause havoc.
Oh man.
Now, in some instances, havoc
Yeah, I
was
heard about that.
caused. In other instances, no havoc was caused. They didn't really care. They just wanted them to go there and basically act an ass.
Mm.
So, do I put it past the Trump administration to be placing people specifically here, paying for people's travel to get to these events just to appear as supporters? Absolutely not. Trump had the two ladies during the campaign. I don't know where they went, but the two African American ladies who was just
Yeah.
I don't know what
No
they was
damn
talking
ladies.
about, but they was doing their own thing. You know, you've just seen several instances of people who have come up with this support out of nowhere, and you know, questions are being posed on whether those individuals are being paid or not. To me, it ain't no surprise on either side, whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, to see individuals paying for whatever support they're trying to get or garner.
I don't know, man. The way I see it, man, he ain't the only one, man. Because they say, like, what 9% of the African American male vote went to Trump this past election, and 9% of 18 million or however many black dudes there was, like 9-10 million of us in the country. So that's at least 1 million Negroes voted for this dude. I don't know, man. He ain't the only one. I mean, I do
That's
math.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At least 1 million Negroes. That's half of
Right.
Dallas voted for this Negro. You know?
Well, see, I'll say this.
Wait.
Hold on, Judge. Let me say this. Just as a preface, I want to say this. I don't see any wrong in African American supporting Trump, because one thing that people try to do, which I don't think is right, is try to loop all African Americans into one mind of thought, as if we all think the same, which is not the case. We all don't think the same. We all have separate views, so we can't loop everybody into this is how African Americans should think. I just wanted to put that out there. You as far as there being individuals who did vote for Trump.
I agree with that.
Well, here it is. Yes, they think different, but as as a black man in this country, seeing what you saw during that campaign against Hispanics, against Muslims, against us, against anybody who's not a rich white man, basically, throughout that campaign, how could you still cast your vote for this person? I mean, I'm like, what other elements or what other qualities did you see in this particular candidate versus the other choice? I understand that basically we were stuck with Hillary or Donald Trump. It's basically choosing between devil or Satan, and the devil wears Prada and Satan's in a suit. So, I mean, which one you want to do? You know what I'm saying? I understand you left with a slim choice, but when you're looking at the two, one made a statement about super predators 20 years ago. One is currently on the campaign trail, talk about building the wall and keeping out Muslims out of the country. Mm-hmm. And talk about ramping up police and doing all this stuff for us. So when you weigh those two out, who in their right mind who's listening to this information can sway in the way of Trump as a black man?
But see, I think that's when people that's kind of like when people say you got your shades on for whatever color. Like it'd be like Joe having his New England Patriot shades on. To some degree, it's like you seeing it. The prism through which you are viewing it is through your own eyes. So it's not. You can't put all African Americans into that same prism of view. So, for instance, there are African Americans who have conservative opinions and conservative views.
I'm not talking about the conservative. I'm talking about the pigmentation, the melanin that you cannot extract from your skin when you walk out in public. We ain't talking about what your thought process is in your mind when you listening to Duran Duran at home. We talking about when you walk out in public. Sir.
Watch it.
I was jamming Rio this morning, my brother. I cut for Duran Duran too. Right, now my point is when you go out in public, that pigmentation in your skin, you get a different reaction from the oppressor. So again, as the man with that melanin in your skin, how it doesn't matter what you think of your conservative thoughts. Oh yeah, we need to work. We need to pull ourselves by our own bootstraps. No, but we ain't trying to get shot by no laws because I'm black either.
Yeah, but that's assuming that. But that's assuming that I'll say this and I'll let him go. But that's assuming that people view African Americans or themselves as being oppressed. These individuals might not have that view at all. They may not have the view of there being a police brutality issue. They may not have the opinion that what Trump was saying was there was anything wrong with what he was saying.
Like really?
So right. So if it, once again, it come with how you're viewing it and through what eyes you're viewing it through.
So how could they view it, my brother? Let me ask you, since you made that good point, and everybody women on it. So if they didn't have that view, then what were they looking at? Then what was the view to make somebody go for Trump if they don't feel like they're in a place of oppression? If they don't feel like those things apply to them as a black person, and I don't know how that could be possible, but if they don't feel those things are affecting them personally, then what key elements would it be to sway somebody to go towards this candidate versus the alternative choice?
The same elements that sway white people or Trump conservatives to vote for Trump as well.
Trump told you, what have you got to lose, man? What have you got to lose?
My life. Yeah. My life, hell.
Go ahead, Judge. Go ahead. I know you got something to say.
Hey, Reggie, congratulations, sir. You have graduated. You have graduated from diapers to pull-ups. Man, I knew slapping you around a few times on these things. You're gonna start talking like me. I knew it. Look, Alan. We just slapped him up enough. Look, he got slapped up so much on these hangouts, man. Yeah. Now he just started walking. Look. He walking on his own now. We got to put pull-ups on him. Look at him. Look at him.
This guy.
We know the party when he see it. Look at him. All right.
This guy.
Now we got to slap around his buddy because he brought him on. Like, man, I can walk. Now you got to learn. He over there still in diapers. He still think he got to be fed over there. Look at it.
I see we got a couple trumpets on the line here. A couple trumpets.
No. You said something about a number of black men that voted for Trump. What was that number?
They said at least like 9%, 10%.
9%. 9-10%. Yeah. That's about right. Yeah, because I know out of what? It's 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, 5 of us on this group. And in our group, we probably got about 12 people. And we know at least 2, maybe 3 that voted for him.
Wait.
I'm not saying anything.
Wait, time out. Before you go any further, what's the population of black people in America?
I don't know.
It's like 18 million, 17, 18 million, or something like that.
17, I think.
Like 17, 18%. I mean, not million. 17, 18%.
Yeah, 17%. Yeah, percentage.
Yeah.
But let me first stay on topic. I'll just mess with you, Reg. I'm gonna stay on topic. Right? We was talking about the black dude sitting behind Trump. Y'all went over there. I already beat that up, so I ain't got to beat that up today, unless Devin want that. If you want it, I give it to you, but I don't give it to you right now. So the guy. Here's the thing. I agree that some way, somehow, either he plants himself or an organization that he represents plants him there, or it's possible that DNC is like, hey, man, we'll pay for you to go there. You hold up the sign. Trust me. He's going to love the sign and he's going to want it. Trust me. He's so egotistical. He's going to love it. And they're going to want to put you in and they want to. And so let's do this. And then the media that loves the DNC is like, cool. Let us know when he's there so we can put the camera on him and then we can write stories about it. Here's the facts, because they're proving this to be factual. That the newspapers and the media streams, all of them, not just one, because you have both sides saying it's them and they'll say, no, it's them. It's all of them, from talk radio to damn news stations. They're all, they banked on Donald Trump winning for one or losing. And for them, they were going to win either way. Okay? And so whoever this person is, they gave you his background. They already knew who he was. All that shit you just didn't pick up. Mm-hmm. For those of us who are normal Americans, we don't give a damn about some black dude sitting behind Donald Trump with a sign. We don't even watch his rallies. We don't give a damn what he used to do, because 90% of the people in America in some shit that we ain't trying to be a part of. All we care about is our jobs, our families, and hopefully some decent food that ain't laced with shit.
Right.
Food, clothing, and shelter. That's all we worried about. If you ain't trying to give us that, if you're not trying to make the environment conducive to us achieving those 3 things, I'm not trying to hear it. I don't give a damn. Okay? I don't be caring about the police. I don't be caring about the fire department. I don't be thinking about all of them. Unless I need them to do their job. Just like when it's my turn to do my job, I do my job. That's it. And so that's just how the game played. So no, I don't care about this dude. It's interesting to see that he was a part of these different cults and shit. But hell, some of them guys that's over there next to him is in the Klan or in the neo-Nazi group or in some other shit. So are you going to spend all day picking and pointing every person standing behind the president and the shit they in? If you're not, then you wasting time. You pinpointing shit, trying to force. And here's what's happening. You're a prime example of what I'm about to say. They're forcing the emotional of us to start, and you're not thinking about this. You're not looking at the world through your eyes. You're looking at it through what the media told you to do. That's what Reggie was telling you. The shit that they're giving you and feeding your brain as you looking on TV and Twitter and shit is the shit that they want you to see. They want you to be worried about this black dude. They want black men and black women to say, oh, it's a black dude behind them with a sign. Look at that coon. Man, we ain't worried about him. We ain't worried about him. Ain't nobody
worried about him.
Yeah,
but they be worried about him.
No, we don't. Here's why. Here's why.
We do too.
No, we don't.
I hope you're ready to get slapped around when you through, man. Make sure you get everything out. You finna get tossed up, man. Go ahead.
Did you write it down? Because this is all off the top of my head, so I hope you wrote it down.
Yeah, I don't need to write it down. I retain information.
Okay, this is why I don't need to worry about him. Now, if you're a thinking man like me, you don't worry about him either. Okay, I don't need to worry about him because he has absolutely no impact on my life or my children's life. Period.
That's fine. Inaccurate statement.
Not mine. Now yours, maybe, but not mine.
He said it's inaccurate.
Okay, well, if you think I'm lying about me, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Maybe not directly. Maybe not directly. He might, because you don't know the dude. He don't have a direct impact, but indirectly as a whole, as like we had in maybe two discussions back when we were talking about the whole black business thing. We were talking about us coming together as a whole and all that. So it ties into that. But here's the thing. But I want to go back to what you were saying earlier before I do forget. You talking about writing down. And you talking about coming from an emotional state and what the media said and the media ramping me up. No, here's the fact. I am 37 and some change old. I'll put it out here live. I was born June 19th, 1980. And if y'all know what June 19th is, hopefully I know y'all's history, what Juneteenth is. You don't know what Juneteenth is because you're from Mississippi.
We know what that is, man.
We know that.
When you was shaking like that, like you ain't know. But
because I know you finna say something wrong, but go ahead.
No, I'm finna say everything accurate. I'm finna say everything accurate to tell you about me personally. I was born in Washington County, Texas. Slaves were freed on June 19th, 1865 in this state. I was born on June 19th, 1980. The day it became an official state holiday in Texas. Take a guess what my race is on my birth certificate.
Negro. Yep.
I am a Negro. Okay? So I was born on a day that's supposed to be celebrated, that's supposed to be recognized by the state, that state representatives, state senators went and passed a law to make this recognized. But still, I had some dude that had enough hate in his heart in this particular thing, and whoever it was that governed in the county I was born, to still stamp nigga on my birth certificate. You see what I'm saying? I went to college at Prairie View A&M University. My freshman year in 1990s, 98, 99, whenever it was, we still had slave houses right around there. We still got a slave cemetery, all that back there. I grew up in a different area. I grew up in that particular thing. I dealt with those people in suburbs. I grew up in the suburbs. I had my father who's an engineer. My mother's an educator. I grew up very well off. Okay, so I went to all white schools. I was the smartest kid in the class. I got ridiculed. I got picked on. I didn't fit in with the white kids. I went white. I couldn't fit in with the black kids as I talked white. Okay, so I've been through all of that. So when you talk about what the media is telling me to feel, that ain't what I feel, is what I've experienced personally every single day of my life for 37 years, from the day I was born when a white man stamped Negro on my birth certificate when I was born on Juneteenth. You see what I'm saying? So this stems all the way back, all the way to that. So when I see these things, how can I personally in my heart cast a vote for a dude who's spewing out all this hate for everybody except for the person that looks like him in the mirror? And I can't understand how another person who looks like me, who could vote for somebody like that, knowing what I personally have been through.
Oh, that's an excellent way to put it. I like the way you put that. Now, here's a question for you. Since you're putting that out on the word, who you vote for?
Oh, I had to vote for the opposition because I had no other choice.
You didn't have to do nothing. So I'm asking
you again. I wouldn't go not vote, but here's another thing.
No.
What you gonna ask me?
Who did you vote for?
I voted for Hillary Clinton.
Now, do you know Hillary Clinton, her mentor was a white supremacist?
Ask me this. Ask me who I voted for in the primary.
It's a yes or no question now. We got to do this.
No, let me back up. No, because you're putting it in the bubble. You see, the thing is,
well, the bubbles is there for a reason.
No, in the primary, I voted Republican.
Gotcha. I ain't talking about that. When it was time to hit the one
to let you know, it ain't about the Democrat, or it was about I had to pick between the devil or I had to pick between Satan.
Why did you think that? Because I didn't.
Why did I think what?
I didn't think I had only two votes. I didn't think I had to choose between one or the other because I knew better.
Well, I could either not vote, and if I don't vote, it might as well be a half vote for him either.
Did you know there were other candidates?
Yeah, there's other candidates that is totally irrelevant.
Yes, it do matter. See, this is what I mean. You were told and you were fooled into thinking you could only vote for two. And the reason why you voted for one or the other is because you put yourself in a position where you only had two choices. Now, for me, I'm going to vote for whoever I want because I'm going to do what I want. Whether the person going to win or not. Listen, hold on. I'm not voting to win because I know I'm not going to win either way. Right? I don't trust either one, so I ain't going to win either way. So I'm voting for who I would like to win, even though I know they ain't going to win, because it's my right to do so. Got it?
Well, that's you. I'm voting for I'm voting against who I don't want to win.
Got you. You heard me say earlier. I got you. You heard me say earlier.
Let me explain this about the primary.
For me, that guy ain't got no impact on my life. For me.
Hold on, real quick.
Exactly. Hold on. So the primary.
Hold on. Let me say this.
Let me make this point real quick.
Go ahead.
So I was trying to explain to Judge about that. Like you said, you didn't want that particular vote because they ain't who you wanted. Now in the primary, like I said, my purpose of that, I had to pick between Bernie Sanders or Hillary in the primary to vote Democratic in Texas, or I could have went on the Republican side. I voted for Ted Cruz. Why did I vote for Ted Cruz in the primary? Is because I wanted to take those delegates away from Trump.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Understood.
And I knew I would vote Republican in general.
Understood.
And that's the whole reason I voted for Hillary, is to keep that same concept, to keep it away from Trump.
Yeah.
Okay, let me say this real quick. In regards to that dude, and kind of answering Devin's question, in no way am I trying to say that I agree or disagree.
There you go.
With that guy. But what I do, what I would like for people to see is that African Americans are not of just one mind. We don't all think alike.
Right.
Yeah,
so we all the same way that you just mentioned. You came from Washington County and grew up a certain way, had certain life experiences that led you to the beliefs that you currently have. Other individuals who are African American have also grown up with certain beliefs and certain things that have happened in their life that cause them to vote in a certain way that they choose to vote, or choose a party in things that reflect their lives or that they believe.
It reflects their reality. Yes, sir.
Reflects their reality. So, I think a lot of times we want to put all African Americans into that same box because we think that all African Americans should view things the same way. Otherwise, you some type of coon, or you have some lower level of blackness, which in my opinion is not
asinine. It's asinine.
Well, I think a lot of that just comes from the media. To be honest, fellas, that's where it comes from. That's where that comes from.
We know that.
And I don't think that way personally, because again, like I just briefly mentioned, my father was an engineer for ExxonMobil, the biggest oil company on the planet, for 30 plus years. He's retired. The man is ultra conservative. He's ultra conservative. When I say my daddy is conservative, I mean this man. He will argue with you about the oil companies. You try to bitch about how much gas costs, he'll ask you how much is a gallon of milk cost, how much is a gallon of Coca-Cola cost, and it costs more than gas, and you have to actually extract oil, which is not a renewable resource. You have to refine, and you have to transport, and you have to do all these things to it, and it's still only $2 a gallon today. You know what I'm saying? It's ultra cheap. So my dad is very conservative. He's been with them since 1972. He retired in 2007, and he still does consultation for him, making 3 times as much money now. So when I tell you I come from a conservative household, it has nothing to do with that particular matter, because I was grown up with conservative values about not spending money. You would never know my daddy was a millionaire. We lived in that little old $120,000 house for almost 20-something years. You see what I'm saying? A little 3-bedroom house. My daddy's owned 3 cars my entire life, and I'm damn near 40.
Yeah, so
3 cars his entire life. So that conservative value is like a Republican. That's how they think. That's how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. But I see the other things that those aren't really for me. That's not for me. Like you said when you were young, going to those Ole Miss games, and you saw that flag and you heard Old Dixie, you didn't know the history, but you had that innate feeling that this ain't for me. This ain't right. This is not supposed to be for me.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey guys,
but
go
ahead, Alan, go.
Okay.
All right.
Take off, guys, man.
Take it easy.
Good show, man. Good show.
I will say this. When
bro.
you say this is what I don't like about the 2 main parties. Democrat and Republican. This is what I don't like about them. They box those parties in, when the fact is people can like multiple things. You can take things from both parties that they're supposed to be about. You can have a conservative Democrat. Absolutely can.
Yep.
You can have someone who has values and still be a Democrat. Democrat doesn't mean
you don't have
values. Yeah,
that's right.
It doesn't mean that. So I don't like how that always is portrayed out. Conservative versus liberal. Right. Those are divisive words. You know what I'm saying? Right. It like liberal means you just don't care. You don't care about any kind of tradition. You're willing to change anything and sell your soul for anything. That's what that sounds.
It's actually derogatory. I take liberal as being a semi-derogatory statement.
Right.
Both are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I was going to say.
Those things.
Go ahead.
You know, but those things about the parties, the two main parties, are the things that need to change, and they're not trying to change that in the media. They want that spy versus spy.
Yep.
Absolutely. But what I was going to say about how an individual who is African American could vote for Trump is, in my opinion, it's the same way that a female could vote for Trump, who had just recently heard him mention about grabbing women by the genitalia, or by the private parts. Looking at it, you might say, well, how could you do that? How could you feel that way? Well, I think as an individual would think, okay, I'm willing to put aside certain aspects of this guy and his flaws because his overall viewpoints correlate more to what I want done in this country, in regards to, or in spite of the other person or the other candidates. I think this person aligns with me, even though he got some flaws and says things or does things that I don't particularly like or I don't think particularly represent me the best. I feel like the majority of the things that he stands for stands for correlate to what objectives I personally want to have done. And so I think that's how a African American could feel like, even though all this other stuff is going on, you know, I am a conservative. This is the guy who represents my conservative values in the best light.
Yeah, and the thing is, he's not conservative. He's never been conservative.
Right.
And I think that's what attracted a lot of people who were tired of both parties, of the liberal and the conservative catfight. Because he's not either. They don't want to deal with the catfight. Right. And I think also young people. A lot of young people voted for him. They did.
Yeah, it was
and they did new. So with that, and millennials, a lot of millennials don't vote on historical and economic. Well, I won't say economics because if they ain't got no money, they think somebody gonna get them some money, they're gonna get it. They don't. A lot of them. Yeah, a lot of them don't process things like those of us in our generation, right? Our generation is the one that we've come from both sides, from the pre-technology to the post-technology. And so we're able to kind of balance our lives, our families, our economics, everything in a much better way than what we used to see or what we're gonna see. And I think politically, we're the ones that's got to be much smarter with how we interpret what people are seeing and what we're hearing, because TV is screwing, and social media is making heads do this. That's just what it is.
And going back to Reggie, what he was saying about the, I don't know if he left the conversation, but about the voting in our position, and as far as the women vote going towards Trump, and what you said, like you're from a position as a black man, and you know where maybe he doesn't say things that particularly agree with me, but he has other policies that look like is in favor of what the white woman wasn't thinking about none of that crap. The white woman was being submissive. The white woman had to follow what her white man was doing in the white race. And I hate to bring race into it, but that's what it was. When you run a campaign based off of race and based off of hate, based off of building a wall to keep Mexicans out, based on banning Muslims, based on all these other things, and the rally was all about make America great again. These are all code terms. I mean, none of us need any kind of decoder book or anything to decipher these particular codes and this rhetoric that they have been spewing out throughout this campaign. So what we need to realize is that the white woman, even though they came out with the old grab 'em by the pussy phrase or whatever like that, and that video came out, they didn't, it's not that they didn't care about that. It's the fact of the matter is they got to go home to their white husband. They got to raise their white child. They got to do this and that. So they're voting along for the survival of their particular race rather than this man might have policies or this. The man didn't say shit about policies during his campaign. All he did was talk about building walls and kicking Muslims out the country. He never gave any real true policy throughout that campaign.
Can I ask you a question?
I don't agree.
Wait, Reggie. Hold on, Reggie. Let me ask a question. Hold on, Reggie. When he's saying building a wall and keeping Muslims out, what about that interpreted to you that I am trying to save the white race?
What interpret that to me? What interpret that to me is
how did you interpret that?
I interpreted that from the fact that the birth rate of white Americans at this point is basically at a point to where they cannot recover to basically maintain the majority in this country in the next 20, 30, 40 years. Okay? It comes from a point to where they need to maintain supremacy not only politically, but also in physical population and numbers. So in order to do that, they have to keep some of these other people out and curb the population, curb immigration, and do all this and that. Those are factual numbers, man. You can look it up. Right now, the birth rate of white Americans, actually not even white Americans, just whites all across the globe, even in Europe. Europe having a crisis right now with birth rates and them actually reproducing.
I agree. There is a slowing birth rate among those we consider to be white. Yes.
Okay, and if you look at other demographics within this country, you look at Hispanics not being racial stereotypical, but they produce a lot more than the rest of us do. Okay?
But are they American citizens?
It doesn't matter they're American citizens. What matters is but listen to me. Here's the point. It doesn't matter they're American citizens right now today. What matters is that they are in a huge population and they gain political power. Once you gain political power and you have economic power and you have numbers in population, you can build money. These people aren't like us. We're the only race that does not invest in ourselves.
Wait. Stop right there, because I don't want you to go too far. Now, when you're saying they're not right now, so we know we're not talking about U.S. citizens, right?
Uh-huh.
Here's what you don't want. What you don't want. No. Well, what you don't want is foreigners having the ability to come to the United States, grow exponentially, and then gain power in the United States, and they're not citizens. That's what you don't want. That's not a racial problem. That's not a racist idea. That's a nationalistic idea of one who's a part of a nation that does not want it to be, that wants to keep it that way. Now, everybody that are U.S. citizens in this country should not want the ability for foreign entities, no matter if they're coming from Mexico or Canada or England or the Ukraine or India or what have you, to come here exponentially, to reproduce exponentially, and all of a sudden they're all citizens, and now they gain political power. Because if you do so, wait a minute. Because if you do so, they're bringing another culture into a already established culture, and then perhaps twisting the tradition around. And so that's where a lot of conservatives are looking at. What we don't do as Black people in America is we don't logically look at things from a worldview. We look at things from what we assume to be our worldview. and we assume it
But I
to
want to
be.
stop you before you get too deep.
Go ahead.
Before you get too far, before you get too deep and
Go
too
ahead.
far. Now you said something about them not being citizens and having political
Yes.
power. Well,
Yes.
that statement may I can see some type of merit in that statement when you're talking specifically about Mexicans, not Hispanics, just Mexicans crossing across the border.
Well, you talk about Hispanics because the issue
Now,
is
when you're talking
Hispanic.
no, not all Hispanics are Mexican. You
I
got
didn't
Puerto
say
Ricans,
Mexican.
you got
I said
Dominicans, you got all that.
Hispanics.
So I'm saying, okay, well, Hispanics aren't a problem. It's the Mexicans, okay, that are a problem.
No,
So do they say as far as
it's not what
illegals.
they're
Now
saying.
listen to me. Now as far as the travel ban, when has there ever been an influx of Muslims coming into this country from 5 specific countries, reproducing exponentially to take over political power within this country?
We're not
There's
talking
never
about. We're
been
talking
anything
about two
like
different
that.
things. You're talking about two different things now.
No, that's what you specifically said. That's why I wanted to stop you before you got too deep. Because I want to let you go.
I said we don't want that from anywhere. That means no matter where you're coming from.
Is that not the value of America being the melting pot to where anybody can come to this country, anybody can be prosperous? Is this not the country to where foreigners can come here and get loans and grants to start businesses and all that?
No. Who told you that?
Is it this not? Who told me that?
No, that ain't what this country
Almost
is
every
about.
white person I've ever heard speak for 37 damn years.
That ain't what they said. That's what you interpret.
Is America not the melting pot for anybody to come for prosperity and anybody? It's the land of opportunity.
Yes, it is a melting. It is a place for everybody to come together. But the country specifically is for Americans. And if you want to be an American citizen, if you want to be an American citizen, if you want to come here, it's like this. It's one of the major hubs. What's this called? I'm calling me in the middle of a talk. Get out of here.
This nigga heard his phone ringing on. Keep on talking like the shit just gonna stop ringing.
Yeah, because it kept going off. I'm pissing me off, right? I'm trying to get something out.
Button, man. Just hit
man,
the
it wasn't near
button.
me. Shut up. It wasn't near me. Listen, we're a conglomerate nation like everywhere else. The problem, what I need you to understand is politically is where everything's ran. And who has political power is important. We want American citizens to have political power in the United States, period. We want you to have American values, American culture, and we all got it. No matter what we want to say, everybody's got American culture and American values. It may not all be the same.
But those things are already in place, brother. Those things are already in place. You cannot be president.
And so what you don't
cannot be president if you're not a citizen. You cannot run for public office unless you've been a resident for such a period of time.
I got that. But what you don't want is you've got to control the influx of people who are coming here. And once they get here, let's say, for example, you just said there's a lot of people that aren't citizens. And that's the point I was making. You got a lot of people that are here that are not citizens and they're reproducing exponentially, right? And you said, well, they're going to become citizens. Well, that's what you've got to control. And then I didn't mention Mexicans and I didn't really mention Hispanics. But if you want to mention Hispanics as that word, because some of them don't like it, you're talking about from Latin America all the way up.
Exactly.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, the influx is coming from Latin America all the way up, because what's happening is they're traveling through Mexico in order to get to the United States. So Mexico has a problem with illegal immigration as well. And they're not stopping in Mexico. They're going to keep going. But the issue is, again, you have to control, you have to, as a nation, right? That's you, me, and everybody else. We have to be mindful of who comes here and their intentions when they're here. That's something you've got to do. Because you may say, oh, well, it's not an issue to you, but then you always talk about, well, it's not that many of us. We're only 14%. We as Black Americans have to also look at it and say, well, shit, we're going to continue to be the minority. Because truth of the matter is, I've done this under the United States Census. Those that know that Middle Easterns, Northern Africans, okay, all of them are considered white under the race tag. So now that you know that, the number of whites just went up. Now I'm sure if there's a white person that's watching this that's probably a neo-Nazi that's hollering white power, probably pissed off right now because he just found out that the quote-unquote Muslims that he hates is white and the goddamn Indians are white. Yes, sir. They're white. I'm sorry.
But
This is
they made
what
it
the
that way
United
for
States that you
population
love did.
purposes. Yeah.
But the point
But
I'm making
I
is
disagree.
that this is what it is. You may disagree, but paper don't lie. This is what it is. You can have an opinion, but it ain't
It's all about
real.
control.
It's
All about
reality.
control and power. I agree with you. I agree with you on the point. I know we got to
You should
move
think
on.
that way.
I know we got to move on. But I agree with you on the
Yeah.
point about the political power. But there
to.
are provisions. But listen to me. There are provisions in place to keep non-citizens from even being able to have political power or hold political positions. I mean, all the way up from the president of the United States, you have to be a United States
Well, that's not
citizen.
what I'm talking
All the way
about.
down to like city council. I couldn't even run for Euless City Council if I wanted to, unless I've been a resident of the city for X
That's
amount of
not where the
years or
power is
however
at,
many
sir.
times.
It's in voting. The
Yeah.
power is in voting,
What
not in the
happens
position.
What happens is when they have children, their children are automatically U.S. citizens.
I understand that. That's the birth thing. But again, the so-called people who made these laws are the ones who are pissed off about it. That was their granddaddies and great granddaddies that said, "Oh yeah, anybody born in this natural born citizen is a natural born on this land is a citizen."
Sure.
They made that shit up. Now they want to come back it up because these people been flooding across the border and having babies here. I don't agree with that. I don't. I agree with you
Which
on that
part?
point that people should not be allowed to come over here
Have
illegally
a baby and have a citizen.
and have an anchor baby. I don't agree with that because that's what they're doing.
Good. That's what the
Then they
wall's
do
for
that
now.
intentionally.
That's what the wall's for.
Yeah, and I don't
What
agree.
wall?
And I don't. Ain't no wall gonna keep nobody out, man. Keep the wall
We
out
know
the
that.
conversation.
I'm making this
But
up.
but
Come
the
on
thing
now.
is,
Follow me.
but the thing is that the and when you talked about, damn, I forgot what you were saying
I got a lot, man. You know
about
me,
the
man.
yeah, man. I
Hey,
want to stop you earlier. I want to keep it going, but anyway, man, I can't even think of the point that you said earlier that I did agree with to a degree. When you were talking about them coming in and the political power and them having
Okay.
babies and
We agree then.
yeah.
We agree to
But the
disagree.
fact of the matter is,
hey, last statement, guys. Both of y'all have a last statement. We got to move on to the
No, I'm
next.
yeah,
good, Joseph. I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good. Let's move it.
Yeah,
Reggie,
we
you got
agree.
something?
That's
I'm
still my
good.
brother.
Reggie chilling. All right. Uh,
Today.
next topic. We'll just touch bases on Paula White, televangelist. She had she was on a show, and she did a prayer for Donald Trump, and it was a rather odd prayer because she attacked his opposition, calling them demonic. And this was, I think, this was a Republican-based like
Christian stuff.
televangelistic show. Yeah, it was a
Christian.
Christian show.
There you go.
So she pretty much attacked anybody who was opposed to Donald Trump and said that he was a godly man and he was a powerful man and that he was doing God's bidding, totally disregarding anything else he's ever said or did. And she got a lot of flack for that in all different types of outlets. What do you guys think about her prayer for him? And what do you think about her just kind of disregarding anything Donald Trump's ever said or did in the name of the Lord, basically on TV?
Well, since y'all pausing, um, I'll preface this in saying that my take on religion, man-made religion, and all that stuff really isn't anything that's really part of my deal. But I do have a deep understanding about it, brief background, so y'all know I know what I'm talking about. Reggie knows a little bit of it, but I used to do gospel rap. I used to have a couple CDs out. I've been on stage. I've been a minister of all that, and I've been in that aspect. So as I've gotten older, I've kind of changed my views a little bit on that. So I understand where she's coming from now. As a woman of God or a person of God, of Christianity, um, you don't call other people out. Okay, you can praise one person who we all think may not be the best person, the most godly person, but you don't call other people demonic. You don't. That's not Christian-like, so to speak. That's not. So therefore, I have an issue with the way that she did that. I mean, besides the point that the dude himself may be a direct descendant of the devil, in my own personal view, but uh, but the fact of the matter is that she would defend this and pray about it and say that anybody else who's opposed to him is demonic, lets me know that the whole Christianity thing is just throws another tick on the side of that is just something that I really don't really too much want to be part of. I understand it. I understand the Bible. I could probably quote scripture all day and talk the Bible with you all day long because I've been there and I've done that. But like Erica Badu said, most intellects don't believe in God, but the fear is still the same. So I understand that, even though if I may not totally believe in all that, understand that we here for some reason, and then, what I'm saying, the fear is still the same. What I'm saying, I don't know if it's true, I don't know if it's not, so I ain't gonna play with it. But at the same time, I'm not gonna go that deep into it to say that, oh yeah, she was right, yeah, right on, she was right, I think she was wrong for that from the Christian standpoint, talking about calling other people demonic. That you can't. That's not Christian like.
Yeah.
I knew I liked you for a reason.
well, I'll say this. I'm a believer that the deeper, and a lot of people won't agree with this point, but in my opinion, the deeper that you grow spiritually, the further you grow away from the church. And 5 years ago, if you'd told me that, I definitely wouldn't agree with you at all. Mm-hmm. But the way I look at things is always, I try to look at things through someone else's eyes. I always try to be the person to kind of view things from the way somebody else might view it.
That's right.
And if I was looking at a non-believer or someone who was open to believing, and that individual were to have viewed that particular message that she was providing, I don't see how that individual could look at what she was saying and say, this is what I want to do. Right. I want to be a Christian. Let me go join her church. Like, I just can't see. I can't see how that individual would even take that premise or that train of thought based off of what she was saying. My personal belief is that as a minister, it's not your job to place a particular side or a particular agenda on the people that listen to you. I think it's your job. Yeah, your congregation. Yeah, thanks.
Really, anybody, right?
Right, anybody. I think that your job is just to basically be a person that says, look, man, regardless of what happens, or to kind of be the apolitical person or the person that's outside of the politics or the things that we deal with in the world. Your job is to kind of be that person to say, regardless of who wins or regardless of what's going on in this world, this is how I feel. This is what the Bible says. This is what this is how you should be living your life. Not going into some diatribe about how one side is demonic and how the other side is right. It just, to me, it just came off as a personal opinion, and I don't think that's the job of a minister, to invoke personal opinions. If you really claim to be this person who is getting guidance from God, I don't think it's your job. I can't see God sitting in heaven saying this person is a demonic man. Don't follow him, and go tell everybody don't follow him because he's demonic. I just don't see that.
And to expand what Reggie just said, very short in like 10 seconds, man, like you said, you can't see that, just like I can't see Christians saying that because you were born in Pakistan as a Muslim that you're going to go to hell because you're not a Christian and you don't follow Jesus. Like, if you were born in some other part of the world, I feel the same way. I mean, you can't just say because seven something billion people on the planet, and less than half of them are Christian. I mean, everybody else going to hell just because where they were born. Come on,
man. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah, that's another day.
Yeah.
We can talk about another
subject. That's a whole other thing, man.
Because that can go forever.
Why do you say that, sir?
We're On that note, we're gonna segue.
Wait. I ain't get that go. I ain't get that go.
Oh, I apologize, sir.
Yeah, I ain't get that go.
He's trying to get his camera right.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some sight.
I was gonna wait to tell you after the show your camera is shit, but
Shut up.
But at least your voice is working. Your audio is good to go.
That's what I'll take then. All right. Goddamn, I can't do everything. Hey, I'll be quick. Because I don't believe in gods and devils and angels. So, but I do agree with you, God, both of you guys. You don't go around calling people names. That just ain't good for business. But I also believe that the church and those who deal in religion is all dealing in politics anyway. They're just dealing in their own form of politics. So I'm not surprised that someone who is evangelical or whatever they are running around saying that people are demonic and they're treating the president bad and all this stuff. But really what they're talking about is you're either with us or you're against us. You're either the opposition or you're with us. And that's really all your devils are your oppositions. And so that's what they're talking about. You're the opposition, but I'm going to use some strong words that resonate in the religious among us, because we know that the mongers on their own certain sides look at Christianity and say it's ours and it's not yours. And, and so let me use that as, because they have that base that do that. So let me use that as my base to say they're the demons, they're the ones, so. Yeah, I don't know why my camera isn't as good as it normally is today.
I know your light kind of jacked up too. Like we can see the top head of your hair.
Yeah, I know, man. I had to move my camera because of the darn phone. Y'all keep rolling.
Look like somebody's headlight shining through your window down the driveway or something. I don't know what's going on.
All right, last topic.
Demons.
Last topic for the evening. There has been reports from the UN that there is a possible genocide on the horizon in Central African Republic between an anti-Balaki, which is an anti-Christian Muslim group that is formed fairly recently, and they are warning that genocide is on the rise. What do you guys think about this? And do you think anybody's going to heed the warning, or we're going to have another Rwanda incident?
Well, I'll dive in on this one. You're talking about it's a Muslim faction and it's a Christian faction, and they're both fighting for power. This is something that's been going on forever. And I said this during when we were off air, and I'll say it live. I don't care. It's unfortunate that a group of people who live in a country or on a continent where they created their own spiritual systems that work for them have now, through colonization and enslavement, allowed themselves to be so brainwashed into their two sides that they don't mind murdering each other over it. It's a damn shame that they both think that the things that they're following is that much better that they don't mind killing each other over. It's a damn shame. But don't come over here with it. That's why I like the U.S.
Well,
there's nothing new about this, man. This is the same thing that's happened. Rwanda was a little bit different. It wasn't about Christian and Muslims. It was about different races, the Hutu and whatnot, different tribes. I guess the closest comparison in recent history would be Sudan and Darfur, where you had recently in the past few years North and South Sudan split because of the northern Sudanese who were more the Arab Muslims who were against the southern, more darker African Christians, and they basically raped and killed them, and it was almost a genocide as well. That's the most recent history that's very closely correlated to what we're seeing now in the Central African Republic. So, I mean, there's been a lot of genocides in Africa, but they've all been different, just like Zaire, which is now the Congo, Republic of Congo. There's a lot going on there, too, in like a decade or so ago, a lot of women being raped and everything from different tribes and trying to take over. So this is nothing new in the continent of Africa by several different countries. And my brother here just alluded to a very key point that I never thought of, that may be a very, very key element of why a lot of this is going on due to colonization. When you introduce different cultures and you introduce different things that eradicate your normal culture, we see that as blacks. Well, I'll use the term African American now for this particular statement. You see that with us, where our culture being demised. You see all of us on this panel right now still share the names of our slave master. You know what I'm saying? We don't have our own African names. We don't have our culture. We don't have our language. We don't know any of those things that may have been several generations back. But though these people in Africa currently today do, I don't know all the political issues. I don't know all those other things, but I really think that colonization may have a big key factor to do with that.
Oh, it does.
With British and French and all of them coming in, introducing different religions, introducing different cultures all together, can stir this up. It's unfortunate. It's sad. And the fact of the matter is, the rest of the world doesn't care, and they won't care. There won't be any intervention from the UN. There won't be any intervention from the United States. They're just basically out on their own, and that's the sad part. And this is a key part. I'll say this. Some years back, I had a neighbor who was a young African girl from Cote d'Ivoire, English as Ivory Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And she was from Ivory Coast, and she was actually one of those refugees who fled the country. Her little brother was taken by these rebels and whatnot at 7 years old, forced to fight in the rebel army. She fled here to the United States at like 12 years old. I raised this girl basically from 16, 17 years old and through high school and everything. She had no family. Her father was executed by the rebel army. Her mother was killed by the rebel army. She had nothing. And by learning this, that same thing goes on, but it was a whole different issue in Cote d'Ivoire, in Ivory Coast, and most of it had to do with the French colonization. They were trying to allow these particular French people from Burkina Faso to come over and rule
Mm-hmm.
Ivory Coast, where they weren't from Ivory Coast. So you have to know the different history from all these different things. The IMF was involved, the International Money and Monetary Foundation.
Yep.
All these things were involved who fund, like, from French colonies, French countries, and British countries. There's a lot of politics that these people can't control. So when you get down to the lower people, they're just fighting and fighting and fighting and really don't know what they're really fighting
about. It's so sad that they don't know what they're fighting about. Because Jesus Christ and Muhammad ain't finna save you. You can kill who you want. They ain't coming to save you.
Wait.
Look, I'm being honest. They ain't coming to save you. Guess who you look? Guess who everybody know who gonna come? It's either gonna be the United States or the United Nations. Them people, human beings. God and Muhammad ain't finna stop that shit.
I don't agree with it.
We'll say this. We'll say those views that were just expressed are of Judges on his own. Those are his views.
Absolutely.
Those aren't all sides media views, by the way. This is a panel of individuals who have their own independent way of thinking. With that said, it's been reported that it has been at least 300 people killed so far since May, and 100,000 people have been displaced. So that's
really not bad, man. That's really not bad compared to numbers I've seen in the past, man.
That's why they said it's early warning.
300 people dead in 4 months.
Yeah, they said it's early warning signs.
Well, and here's the thing about it: we're so much better now. Meaning the world, people are so much better that when we see it, we're kind of intervening a little bit faster than we used to. If we'd intervened a hell of a lot faster, there would never have been a Darfur or Rwanda. But you didn't know about that shit until fucking 150,000 people were dead already.
Yeah.
Well, see, I think it's still an issue though, because
of course, it's always an issue.
we still, even though it's better, it ain't the greatest as far as
improved.
As far as people knowing. Yeah.
The United States is far removed. We're out of touch with world news, but way
the citizens, yes.
Yeah,
they made sure they did that when they got rid of Al Jazeera US. That's when they took away the world news in this country.
Yeah,
Al Jazeera was given world news.
Yep, we are out of touch with world news. It's very apparent. We barely hear anything. The only things we hear about is if there is a terrorist attack in either England or
Europe.
France. If it's anywhere else, we ain't hearing about it.
I ain't even hearing about it. What
Or
was
it's the shortage
it,
of chocolate, and you can't buy your damn chocolate bars. And, what happened with the chocolate? Oh, there's some child
The
slavery.
Kinder
was it,
bar, the Kinder eggs, the Kinder egg.
what is the area called? Is it Sierra Leone or something like that?
Oh, yes.
Where all those
Yeah,
people
Sierra
died. I mean, you never saw that on TV.
Yeah, I would say even like the Rwanda
You have to be
incident,
looking in order to find that.
even the Rwanda incident
Right.
where 800,000 people were killed, mind you, 800,000 people were killed. I didn't really hear about that.
To the movie.
Right, to the movie.
No, I heard about it. I heard
Don
about it
Cheadle
after.
told me in Hotel Rwanda.
No, I heard about it after. I didn't know the ins and outs of it till Hotel Rwanda and in springtime in April or whatever the other movie was. But those movies came out years after that.
Yeah.
I remember hearing about that genocide, but it was a blip. It was a blip
Yeah.
on the news.
Right.
And we were younger,
And
so
UN was nowhere.
I mean, shit, you was
And
playing
UN was
video
nowhere.
games.
Yeah, we were definitely younger, so that's true. But it was definitely a blip on the news when you heard
And the
about.
only people that showed up to help them wasn't the UN, it was the Belgians. And even then, they were very limited. Once the shit hit the fan and it got real crucial, the Belgians
they
packed
couldn't-
up and
they
dipped
couldn't do
out to
nothing.
Rwanda. They couldn't do nothing.
Man, fuck the Belgians.
And I will say this: even if we were young, when you heard about Timothy McVeigh, you heard about him all over the news.
Right.
That's homegrown.
Yeah, but
But see,
how many people? How many people did he kill?
Fucking
Wasn't
no
near
much.
as many as 800,000.
Right.
That was my freshman year of high school. I remember that's like, what, 94?
Yeah,
But remember now, we weren't. I mean, social media and the internet wasn't jumping like that. You couldn't have been
Yeah,
up
it
in them damn villages, off up in them holes with a camera. Your ass got your head cut off. You wasn't going to be out there, so you wouldn't have known about what's going on. Matter of fact, my neighbor, he's Nigerian. I think he's from the south side of Nigeria. He says you don't know what's going on in them villages unless you're from there or you go down in there. And you ain't just finna go down in them villages way off up in them holes. You ain't just finna go to Rwanda during that time period or Zaire and all them different places if you ain't from around there. Just ain't. Not with no camera anyway.
Man, we don't know. We don't be doing nothing about nothing.
And we black and we ain't going in there. Reggie
like-
blacker than all of us, and his ass ain't going there. They gonna kill him. They know he ain't from around there. They know he ain't from there. He got waves. He gonna die.
Actually, ain't right.
Got good. He gonna die. You got waves, man. We know you ain't from here. Got prescription eyewear and shit. You gonna die.
It's a prescription I wear.
No.
Them ain't even
I'm making
prescription
fun.
that
It
I
ain't
get
funny.
Man,
It
like I
ain't funny. We trying to add a little humor to everybody, but
Man, like I say all the
Yeah.
time, man, the news has totally changed, man. From where even just when we were young, like you think about it now, like there's a hurricane off the coast of Texas.
no
When we were
shit.
young, man, you would have reporters all along the Texas coast,
Getting
Talk
blown
about-
all over the place.
yeah,
and
getting
shit.
blown all over the place, talking about hey, it's coming, it's on the way. Man, now they show like a little graph saying, okay, this is the route it might go, and then they go right back to Donald Trump. And you like, y'all ain't even gonna get no coverage to this. It don't even
Nope.
matter. This thing could be a Category 4 hurricane, and they ain't even talking about it.
Yeah,
Not until that bitch hit. Not until it hit.
Right.
Well,
There hasn't been one
I heard
single
the weather's
day
getting bad down south. So
Yeah, all my
Nothing
people in
here yet.
Houston, man. But what I mean, since the campaign started, man, all the major news channels from MSNBC, Fox, CNN, all of them have been all Donald Trump channels for the past year and a half. There hasn't been
Yep.
one single day that the sun has risen and dropped again where they didn't mention this dude's name in a year
That's
and
right.
a half. And that's really one of the main reasons, like I was telling Reggie, it worked why he got elected. I mean, it's just you
It's by
keep
design.
a
Yes,
certain
sir.
name you keep that repetitiveness in somebody's head, no matter how bad or good it is. There's no such thing as bad publicity. That's just like that song you hate that plays on the radio. You can't stand this damn song, but if they play it enough, you catch yourself in there washing dishes humming the damn hook. You see
Oh,
what I'm
Hey,
saying? Even though you hate the damn thing.
tell
Bad
that
Bougie.
Pat, tell that ain't no bad publicity to Usher.
To the Bad Bougie. Yeah.
I bet you still sell
I
some more
know,
records.
I know
I
all
bet
the
you
women
sell
Usher
some more records.
slept with in the last 12 years, then I know what's going on. Like the Chinese
Hey, I bet you'll
buying up
come out.
all the real estate in Africa.
I bet you'll come out with a Let It Burn remix in itself.
I don't want that burn.
Oh,
Let it
man.
burn. Let it burn 3 weeks after, right? Let it burn
Let it-
3 weeks after.
Let It Burn Part 2. It's gonna be hell on the chart.
It's still burning. It's still burning, yeah.
It's gonna be hell on the chart. All right,
Goddamn Pied Piper on there, huh?
I think we covered all the topics. Anything else, y'all?
Yeah.
Any alibis out there we want to talk about, discuss, throw out there?
You know what? Let's bring up one of the topics. Well, sure, we're gonna talk about next week. Shit. Let's get some folks in.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. We gotta have that religion talk here
Yeah,
soon.
we'll
We've
do
been
a
flirting
religion
with it.
talk, folks, coming up in the next couple weeks. We're gonna get that together. We're gonna get people from different religions and different views. So I mean, obviously we have that here now. We're gonna get some other people on here as well, just to throw their views in there. And also we're gonna add what's the thing you wanted to do, Judge, with the music?
Oh yeah. That's I thought of a topic. We all just discuss music that we like that our friends will probably think we're strange for liking it.
Like
Sleepers.
that Duran Duran.
Those are gonna be the sleepers. These are sleeper hits that your musical ear finds appealing, that maybe everybody else in your circle may not.
Well, I'm talking about music, period, because there's some stuff I listen to that y'all probably go, "What the?"
Well,
That I don't even tell y'all I listen to. That's just how bad I'm like, man, I'm not telling them I listen to this.
I'm very diverse in music. There's some stuff I can't listen to for sure, but I'm pretty diverse. I like to call myself that. But we're gonna start that. Thank you guys for viewing. Thank you guys for.
Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry, Joe, before you close out.
What?
Hey, also, make sure if you haven't, you watching this, make sure you subscribe, 1. 2,
Subscribe.
check out the All Sides Media Appetite. It's my first food review kind of restaurant visit. So if you haven't looked at that, check that out. And we're going to do more of those and many other things. Go ahead, Joe.
Check it out. All Sides Appetite, starring Judge. Tell him if it sucks, what he can do to improve, and give him restaurant ideas or different type of food. And he's gonna be running with that. I think Reggie's got some things in the work. We're not ready to reveal that just yet. But yeah, subscribe. Let's get the word out about All Sides Media. No One Can Agree is a flagship, but we're gonna be bringing out more shows and different things coming up.
Yeah.
We'll do the music thing. We'll kind of incorporate that into the shows, and we're gonna do a big show on religion and just the different views. I think that's coming up in the next few weeks. Anything else, gentlemen? All right, it's been episode 11. Thank you guys for watching.